I've been riding the new Splach Turbo Elite electric scooter for a while now, and it's been an impressive experience. This is an upgraded successor to the original Splach Turbo, and you can tell right away that it retains the core strengths of its predecessor while introducing some meaningful improvements. First off, the Turbo Elite runs on a 52-volt, 10.4 amp-hour battery, the same capacity as before, which gives me around 19 to 22 miles of real-world range per charge. That's ample for daily commuting and zipping around town. The claimed top speed is about 28 miles per hour, which is quite fast for an entry-level priced scooter. Uphill, it's no slouch either. The Turbo Elite is rated to handle inclines around 30% grade, while it did slow down to 12 miles per hour while going uphill, and in my test, it climbed steep neighborhood hills noticeably better than the older model did. That extra climbing power is immediately apparent and gives you confidence that a hilly route won't slow you down too much. A big part of that improved performance is the new motor. The Turbo Elite is equipped with a 600-watt nominal brushless motor, peaking up to 1068 watts, whereas the previous Turbo pit was around a 600-watt motor with about 800-watt peak output. On paper, it's a significant jump, and in practice, I could feel the difference. Acceleration off the line is punchier, and the scooter reaches its top speed more quickly. It's still a single-motor commuter scooter, not a dual-motor drag racer, but the extra torque is great for overtaking cyclists and for maintaining speed on uphill stretches. The controller has been upgraded as well. Splach moved from a square wave to a sine wave controller in the Elite, meaning the power delivery is much smoother and quieter now. Gone is the high-pitched electrical whine that some scooters have. With the sine wave system, the motor runs with a pleasant hush and throttle movement at low speeds is more precise. The result is a ride that feels more refined and easier to control, especially at crawling speeds or when feathering the throttle in traffic. In terms of core hardware, the Turbo Elite carries over many of the features that made the original Turbo such a compelling scooter. It still uses a tough 6061 T6 aluminum alloy frame, giving it a solid quality feel. The stem is sturdy and both height adjustable and foldable just like before, a feature I really appreciate as a taller rider. The wide handlebars fold in for portability as well, which is convenient for storing the scooter or taking it in a car trunk. At around 50 pounds weight, it's not the lightest thing to carry, but the folding design and built-in grab handle points make it manageable. For stopping power, it continues to rely on dual drum brakes augmented by an electronic ABS system. These brakes are low maintenance and work reliably. In my tests, the Turbo Elite was able to perform hard stops in a very satisfying manner that felt no less powerful than disc brakes from scooters in the same price range. In everyday use, I found the drum brakes sufficient, and they never felt like they were fading or lacking power when I needed to stop. The feel at the levers is a bit soft though. They don't have the immediate bite you'd get from hydraulic disc brakes, so you do need to pull a little harder. It's a trade-off for the convenience and durability of drums. However, I do find it annoying that I have to reposition my hand in order to fully engage the brakes. The scooter also features an NFC unlock system like the previous model, meaning you can tap an NFC card to the display to unlock the ignition. It's a cool anti-theft feature. The idea is that without the registered card, the scooter's power is immobilized. I always carry the NFC card on me, but there's also a passcode option as a fallback. I did find the NFC card to scratch up the LCD screen, so I recommend you to not remove the screen protector that came with the screen. Rounding out the carryover features, the Turbo Elite has cruise control for convenience on longer stretches and an array of LED lights for safety. There are front and rear LED lamps that are brighter than before, plus built-in turn signals. Yes, actual blinking turn signals, which is a great touch for road visibility. Now, let's talk about what's new and improved on the Elite beyond the motor and controller. One of the first things I noticed was the new display and throttle setup. The old Turbo used a small, round LCD display mounted on the side with a trigger-style throttle. On the Elite, Splach upgraded this to a larger, center-mounted display that looks far more premium and is much easier to read at a glance. All your info, speed, battery, mode, etc. is clear on this screen, even in daylight. And instead of a finger trigger throttle, the Turbo Elite comes with a thumb throttle. I personally find thumb throttles more ergonomic, especially for longer rides. It reduces hand fatigue and gives finer control. This new thumb throttle felt smooth and intuitive, and together with the sine wave controller, it makes accelerating and maintaining speed a very gentle experience with no jerky starts. I also appreciate the overall cockpit layout. The grips are comfortable, the brake levers are within easy reach, and the buttons for lights, horn mode are reasonably placed right out of the box with no additional adjustments needed. It feels like Splach really refined the rider interface on this model. The ride quality on the Turbo Elite is another area that saw a big improvement. One major reason is the tires. The previous Turbo had an 8.5-inch pneumatic tire in the front and a smaller 8-inch solid tire in the rear. While that meant you'd never get a flat on the back, it also made the ride harsher on rough roads, since that rear tire couldn't absorb bumps. The Turbo Elite upgrades both wheels to 8.5-inch pneumatic tires. This change alone makes the scooter much more comfortable and capable on mixed terrain. Hitting bumps or cracks in the road is less jarring now because both the front and back tires provide some cushion in addition to the suspension system. The difference in traction and shock absorption with dual pneumatic tires was immediately noticeable on any surface roads. It felt sure-footed and didn't rattle my joints like a solid tire would. These tires combined with the dual spring suspension result in a very smooth ride for a scooter of this class. The suspension itself is changed slightly from the prior model in design. You have spring suspension on both the front and rear swing arm, but they are completely sealed off and they are no longer adjustable. It's also tuned out of the box on the softer side so that the ride feels plush and soaks up ordinary bumps nicely while keeping the ride stable. I do wish the suspension stiffness was adjustable. Some scooters let you dial the springs or shocks to your liking, but here it's a fixed setup. For me, the stock suspension is fine. It strikes a pretty good balance between soft and stiff, but heavier or lighter riders might have liked an easy adjustment. As it stands, you'd need to physically swap springs or modify them to alter the feel, which most people probably won't do. The important thing is that the scooter delivers on the promise of ultra-smooth suspension in everyday riding. You can hop off curbs or glide over brick paths without feeling punished. For an urban commute with occasional off-road detours, the Turbo Elite handles it extremely well. Another upgrade worth highlighting is the folding mechanism. Splach improved the latch on the Turbo Elite by adding a secondary safety pin. On the old model, in some cases coming undone if not perfectly latched. The new folding mechanism still uses a quick release clamp on the neck, but now there's a locking pin you insert as an extra safeguard. This pin ensures the latch stays tightly locked and won't wiggle free even after lots of miles and vibrations. When folded, you just pull the pin and release the clamp to collapse the stem. I found this mechanism to be very reassuring. There's practically zero stem wobble while riding, and I have peace of mind that it won't fold on me unless I wanted to. Folding the scooter for transport is quick, about 10 seconds. Splach has also paid attention to tech and convenience features with the Elite. The scooter now sports programmable RGB ambient lighting along its deck, which adds a bit of flair for night rides. The deck has side light strips that can glow in various colors or patterns. Using the Splach mobile app, I was able to connect to the scooter and customize these lights. You can choose solid colors or effects that pulse and change color to music, which is pretty fun. Admittedly, having to use a separate app for this is a bit of a chore. I would have liked if there were an onboard toggle for at least a few basic lighting modes. As it is, you'll probably set your preferred lighting once and leave it, unless you really enjoy tinkering with the light show from your phone. The LEDs themselves are bright and make the scooter more visible at night, so it's not just for looks, it's also a safety feature in traffic. The headlight and tail light on the Turbo Elite are definitely brighter than the ones on the older Turbo. Riding at night down a dark street, the headlight beam illuminates a decent distance ahead, and the tail light, which also flashes when you brake, is clear and attention-grabbing. Between the head tail lights, the ambient deck lights, and the turn signals, the Turbo Elite really has an impressive lighting package for a scooter in this price range. You'll be hard to miss, which is great for safety. No product is perfect though, and the Turbo Elite has its share of quirks and drawbacks to be aware of. For one, while the suspension delivers a smooth ride, it isn't adjustable. For most riders, this isn't a big issue, and the factory suspension setting works well for a wide range of weights, but it's not as tunable as something like a mountain bike shock. Another thing to note is the drum brakes. They require a firm squeeze, and although they stop the scooter reliably, the feeling can be a bit mushy at the levers. I've gotten used to it, but coming from hydraulic brakes, it's noticeable that these are cable drum brakes. The positive flip side is that they are enclosed and don't require as frequent maintenance or cleaning, and they perform decently even in wet conditions. But if you demand razor-sharp braking response, you might be slightly underwhelmed. The ambient lighting's app dependency is another minor gripe. As mentioned, you can't change those deck light settings without digging out your phone and connecting via the app, which isn't very convenient if you're already cruising. Fortunately, you can always just leave the lights off or set one color in advance, so it doesn't affect the core riding experience. Lastly, the Turbo Elite is rated IP54 for water resistance. This means it's okay with light rain and splashes, but it's not fully waterproof. The charging port has a rubber cap that keeps dust out, but I wouldn't trust it against heavy rain or submersion. I tend to avoid riding in bad weather anyway, but it's worth noting that you should be careful with water. IP54 is pretty standard for scooters in this range, but I wouldn't push your luck through deep puddles. As long as you treat it as water resistant and not waterproof, you'll be fine. All things considered, the Splach Turbo Elite is a big win in my book. It takes what was already an excellent mid-tier electric scooter and makes it even better. The core specs, such as range and top speed, are still here, now backed up by a smoother controller and more powerful motor for improved ride quality and hill climbing. The comfort level has gone up thanks to the dual pneumatic tires and robust suspension, and the overall ride feels both fun and confidence-inspiring. I also love the extras Splach has packed in: the upgraded display, the thumb throttle, the full lighting suite with Signal's NFC unlock. These are features you typically find on much pricier scooters, yet the Turbo Elite delivers them at a relatively affordable price point, around $699, which is excellent value considering everything you get. Of course, you have to accept a few trade-offs like the non-adjustable suspension and the slightly softer braking feel, but none of these were deal breakers for me. In day-to-day use, the scooter has been reliable and a joy to ride. It's equally happy cruising at 18 miles per hour in a bike lane or blasting up to 28 miles per hour on an open road when I need to keep pace. The wide handlebars and sturdy frame give great stability, and the scooter just feels solid beneath you even at top speed. In summary, the Splach Turbo Elite earns a strong recommendation as a commuter or recreational e-scooter for riders who want a well-rounded, feature-rich ride. It's fast, it's comfortable, and it's loaded with tech. A true turbocharged upgrade that leaves the old model in the dust while staying fun and user-friendly.